If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast, all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sports Hit with cwit. Happy to have you guys back with me here today. I was a little sick on Tuesday and a little tired and had homework, so I'm back here today. Got a great episode planned for you guys today, so stick around because it's going to be a great one here today. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Steel City Sport 4. We'll give you all our takes on there. So let's get started. But first, hit that music. And nice to have you guys back with us on this Thursday afternoon, October 24th, National Food Day. Everyone loves food. It's part of our lives. Everyone loves it. So, my first topic of the day is, it's not like a big topic, but it's big enough that I'm going to talk about it. It involves Jim Harbaugh and all these NFL rumors. He's going to leave. He's going to go coach the Dolphins, or the Redskins, whoever wants him. He's an NFL coach after this year. And some people call him a Michigan failure. And I'm here to tell you that Joe Klatt said it well on the Colin Cowherd show. He said, Michigan isn't built a big program as big as Ohio State, etc. And that's why they don't beat Ohio State. I think they're very capable of beating Ohio State in the future. But they got to have Harbaugh. So I'm going to give you a few reasons why I think Harbaugh should stay. And I think it's absurd for the people to say that he should leave because he's a good coach. He doesn't win big games, but he's a good coach. He will win big games sooner than later. All of you guys said when he got the job at Michigan is Harbaugh's very overpaid. Incorrect. Harbaugh could have had a $10 million a year contract in the NFL, and he's making $7.5 at Michigan. He's currently being paid 75% of his market value, and NFL teams are still interested about his return to the NFL, as I just said. So you got that away. You say, oh, he's paid too much. He could have got a $10 million contract in the league. I mean, he led his 49ers to a Super Bowl for a reason. It's not that like this guy can't coach. He's turning around from he's turning around a program. My number 2, he should be on the hot seat for missing the Big Ten title game again. Wrong again. Only one team can win a title per year. Jim Harbaugh took a down Michigan program during a time when the Big Ten was and is the strongest it's ever been. Big Ten title isn't manifest destiny for Michigan. It must be earned. And I totally agree. He's got to win it sooner than later, but when you have all these powerhouses, like Penn State, you could say is a powerhouse. Ohio State's a big powerhouse. It's hard to win in the Big Ten. It's hard to win with all these atmospheres. Misconception number 3. Harbaugh can't win big games. Fair, but not a complete picture. He has taken Michigan from a battling for bowl eligibility to being a game away from the playoff. Only a matter of time if this guy will win or not. And I think he will. Last year, Michigan went on a heck of a run since they lost when they lost versus Notre Dame. And most of that, like, you guys don't give Harbaugh enough credit. When he wins all these games against Penn State and all these guys, why don't you give him credit? It's weird what you guys are trying to say. You don't like him, but why? He doesn't win big games. He's only been there 5 years. I just said it. He took a bowl eligibility team, a non-bowl eligibility team, and he's taking it to 1 win away from the college football playoff. 1 win away. Ten minutes away from the top of the hour. Sports Hits with cwit. Back with you guys in a minute. Welcome back to Sports Hits with cwit. I gave you some reasons why I think it's like silly to say Jim Harbaugh should be fired, or they should, quote unquote, part ways with Harbaugh. But, well, I'm going to give you another reason. Dabo Swinney started his first 5 years at Clemson 40-22 with no top 10 finishes. Jim Harbaugh is 43-16 through just short of 5 full seasons. Not saying that he will repeat Dabo's success, but it's just an example of why it would be foolish to count out Jim at this point. Listen, Dabo Swinney, arguably the second best coach in college football, was 40-22. 40-22. And you could say Clemson was the same as Michigan, trying to battle for bowl eligibility. Same team. So why count out Jim? Ohio State's having their best decade ever. Ever. No one's going to repeat in the Big Ten. Ohio State will not repeat this for 20, 25 years. They had their ups and downs. But now they're in their hit part. Michigan, they are 1 win away from making it to the college football playoffs, and it would shut all these critics up who are criticizing Harbaugh. I'm thinking about this. I'm going to name a couple coaches, and I'm going to say, why them? Why them over Jim Harbaugh? We'll start out with the team he just played, James Franklin, excuse me. Now, you could say he turned Penn State around. I guess so, but you're going to go somewhere. You can't go that much more down after coming out of the sex scandal. My opinion. He did turn that program around into one of the best in the nations. Props to you, James Franklin. He is 2-4 against Michigan. He is 2-4. And what does that make Harbaugh against him? 3-2. 3-2. So why the hell does James Franklin still have a job? Why the hell does he still have a job? He don't win big games. He ain't done anything. He only won by 7. The Pitt's going to be the coastal champs. That's in the ACC. Different from the Big Ten. Way different. Way different. He's 2-4 against Michigan. 2-4. 2-4. How can you rate James Franklin over Jim Harbaugh if he's 2-4 against Michigan? And I think 1-5 against Ohio State. 1-5. Has Penn State ever been 1 win away from make it to the playoffs? Heck no. Heck no. Back when they had Barkley, McSorley, Chris Godwin, all those guys, they were a two-loss team, and they lost to USC in the bowl game where Juju Smith-Schuster, Sam Darnold went off, etc. Arguably one of the greatest bowl games ever. Greatest Rose Bowl of all time. The committee wouldn't put a two-loss team in. They wouldn't put a two-loss team in. Are you kidding me? Has James Franklin ever been in a situation where he was one win away from making it to the playoffs? I'll wait. Harbaugh's on a better path than Franklin is, to be honest with you guys. He is. From Franklin, we'll go to another Penn State rival, and our rival, actually. Ryan Day. You can argue that Ryan Day, he didn't do much, because that is the team Urban Meyer built. Ryan Day didn't do anything, and I mean anything. Anything. Urban retired. Urban, top 10 coach of all time. He retired, quote unquote, retired. And Day, he comes in his first year, young coach, and who does he have? Justin Fields, Okuda, Chase Young, all these guys. J.K. Dobbins, all those guys. What do you expect them to do? You expect them to just not win a game? How hard is it? How hard is it? How hard is it? It's a team that Urban Meyer built, but Ryan Day's taking credit for it. Urban Meyer built that team, and Ryan Day's taking credit. From Ohio State, we go back to Penn State. My Michigan Wolverines lost a heartbreaker to Penn State last Saturday evening, 28-21. My thoughts on the game are our guys played really well. Our guys played really well in the second half. Our first half, we weren't consistent enough. We couldn't move the ball. Credit to Penn State. They have a great fan base. Fans are a little annoying, I would assume, there. But nonetheless, they came ready to play. Michigan came ready to play too, but the crowd was a big factor in that game. But Michigan did. I love what I saw from Josh Gaddis this weekend. I mean, I loved it. The tempo we were at, and Shea Patterson looked like prime Shea Patterson. He played really well that game. You tell me otherwise, I'd love to sit here and argue with you. Love to. Our defense couldn't make stops. Looked like KJ Hamler was going all over against us. Don Brown's scheme works sometimes, but then he gets these safeties who are tired from running. Metellus is one of them. Khaleke Hudson's another. They get him on these fast slot receivers, and they run right by him for a touchdown. But we fought our butts off. I'm very proud of this team. And Ronnie Bell, keep your head up. Don't listen to anyone on the outside. Don't listen to anyone. Don't listen to critics. Don't listen to the guy that emailed you. Don't listen to anyone. Don't listen to anyone. The rate Ronnie Bell's going at, not this year, but maybe next year, he's gonna be a first round pick. Shea Patterson was balling. Charbonnet played well. Our running game struggled in the first, but seemed to get back in the second half. Our passing game was awesome. Our defense started to beef up. We took the crowd out of it, which helped. And we got Notre Dame this weekend in the big house, 8 o'clock. Fowler and Herbie commentating that game. Going to be a great one down there in Ann Arbor at the big house. Speaking of that game, Michigan could spoil some seasons. Now you think about how we got spoiled seasons. Iowa spoiled our season. Who else? Ohio State has spoiled our season multiple times. Penn State spoiled our season. Now it's time for revenge. Revenge, as you would say, getting something back. Fight for some pride, wouldn't you? I mean, you're playing a Notre Dame team who is, you could say, still in it. They're 8 right now. They're a good team. They're well coached. Their only loss was to Georgia on the road, 8 o'clock game. Tough atmosphere, but the South Carolina loss did hurt Notre Dame a lot. But if they went out, they're in. You argue that. They went out, they're in. You can't argue a one-loss. You can't not put in a one-loss team who played Georgia on the road, who's had tough opponents, who played USC, Michigan. If they beat Michigan and they went out, they're in. You can't not put them in. You can't put 2 SEC teams. You can't put Alabama and LSU because they're going to beat up on each other. And then Georgia's going to be in the SEC championship. One of those teams going to be beat up each other. There's only going to be one SEC team. One SEC team. Alabama loses to LSU in a close game. They're out because they're not going to compete in the SEC championship. They're out. They're in the same conference. They're out. Then you got a Big Ten team, likely Ohio State, but we could spoil that season too. And then you got Boomer Sooner, Oklahoma, who's going to win out here. They will win out. Lincoln Riley's a great coach, doing a great job with that program. Jalen Hurts leading the squad. CeeDee Lamb is a baller. Like what I'm seeing from the Sooners this year. Like it a lot. Like it a lot. But Michigan has a chance to spoil Ohio State's season. Back up your coach a little bit. Get some pride. Get mad. Talk smack. You don't want them to come in and run right through you because that's what they're thinking right now. They're on the couch. They're watching that Penn State. I can assure you that. They're on the couch watching that Penn State game laughing. Because that's your biggest rival, Michigan. Excuse me. That's your biggest rival. Take care of business at home. Give the coach, Harbaugh, give him something to gain off. Go into the offseason knowing that you can beat Ohio State. Because they can. Ohio State's only human. Not like they're some gods or anything. Not like they're any gods. It's going to be tough, but they're very capable of doing it. 5 minutes in the hour. Sports Hits with cwit. Back after this break. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Sports Hits with cwit. Now, I'm going to talk some NBA here. I got some teams in mind that I think, I'm going to give you some surprise teams and then, disappointing teams. So I got one right here. They lost in the finals last year, but I think teams are overlooking them because they lost Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant. But realize 2015, Steph Curry was the MVP, and Klay's a spot-up shooter, and they're adding D'Angelo Russell. So don't count the Warriors out. And I'm going to tell you. Curry's a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He's the best point guard in the league. Draymond's a good role player, great defender, a guy you always want to have on your team. Willie Cauley-Stein is a running center. He's very good. He's going to get rebounds, not going to be a lot of offense. D'Angelo Russell is a dynamic player himself. He will match up well with Steph Curry, in my opinion. Don't think he'll be that much of an impact, but it's going to be awesome to see what Steph Curry can be this year. I think he's a really good player. He's the best playmaker in the league. We'll see what Steph can do this year. A team that I wouldn't be surprised if they're good, although you guys might, is the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic, and I'm going to say why. The Orlando Magic have Markelle Fultz, who needed a change. He was struggling down there in Philly. They didn't treat him right. The fans weren't very nice to him. But I think he's gotten that out of his head, and they got a pretty good young core in Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, who I think needs to develop an offensive potential. Aaron Gordon's a pretty good player, 6'8", 220. Mo Bamba, the second year player, 7', 241 center, will be commanding the middle there with Vucevic as well. This Magic team could be a fringe 6 seed. I think their ceiling will be the 5th or 6th seed. We'll see what this Magic team can do, but don't be surprised if we're all that good. Another team, don't be surprised if they're all that good. The Bulls could be a playoff team. Now you're thinking the Bulls, Jim Boylan isn't a very good head coach, and maybe he's not, but this young core they build down there in Chicago is pretty good. Wendell Carter Jr. from Duke, second-year player. Chris Dunn, doing okay as a backup. Otto Porter Jr. from Washington had a pretty good year back here. Lauri Markkanen has kind of turned into a little superstar here. First player to score 35 points in his debut since Michael Jordan. Zach LaVine's good player, 6'6", 181. Coming in, it was like 5th year in the NBA. He's a good playmaker, can score the ball from anywhere on the court. Denzel Valentine's pretty good bench player. And then their first-round draft pick, Kobe White. I wouldn't be surprised if he does pretty well this year. He's 6'4", 185, but he's fast, he's athletic, and he can shoot the ball from anywhere on the court. But we'll see what this team can do. Now I'm going to go to the opposite side. I'm going to tell you a couple teams who I think is overrated. One being the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks had their best year ever last year. And that's because the Greek freak Giannis was the MVP last year. But I'm going to put something in your favor. Giannis was the MVP because he was a playmaker and he can dribble. He's 7 foot tall and he can dribble like he's a point guard. But he has to develop a shot at some point. Don't you think so? He's not going to go through all of his career with never really having a three-pointer. Their depth has taken a hit with Brogdon leaving. Eric Bledsoe isn't the best guard. I think they could do better. DiVincenzo, they need to have a big year. Second-year player from Villanova, didn't see to be a key last year. George Hill, good vet off the bench, but nothing special. Ilyasova, good shooter off the bench. Kyle Korver, very good shooter off the bench. And then the Lopez brothers, kind of the same person, but Brooks a little better. We'll see what they can do. But Chris Middleton, I really like. I think he's a good player, good playmaker. He's 6'7". He can shoot the ball from anywhere on the court. He did get a max this past offseason, and Wesley Matthews to finish it off on the bench. Another team who I think you shouldn't go all happy about. They won't be a playoff team, but they won't be great. The Philadelphia 76ers. Philadelphia 76ers have Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, and Josh Richardson and Ben Simmons. Now, you look at that lineup. No one on that lineup is smaller than 6'5", and that's the shortest one on that lineup is Josh Richardson, standing at 6'5", 200 pounds. This team, their defense is good. I'll give them that, but you could say too big. They're going to bully kids, but Joel Embiid, in my opinion, is out of shape. He needs to get more in shape. Al Horford's a good role player, but he's a little old. Tobias Harris isn't worth the money he is getting, but he's an okay player. Josh Richardson still needs to develop an offensive game. And last but not least, Ben Simmons is a good player, but needs to shoot more and develop a shot. Matisse Thybulle, they drafted the rookie. Reminds me a little of Robert Covington. He's 6'5", 200 pounds. Good defender. And Zara Smith, the 6'3", 205-pound second-year player commanding the bench. They got Korkmaz, Kyle Quinn. Not a lot of depth, but this team could be okay, but I don't think you should bag on them for being an automatic put into the finals. Another team, and I know you guys are going to disagree, I don't think the Nuggets are that good. You look at it, and they got Jokic, one of the best players in the league. They got Jamal Murray, an up-and-coming star. Michael Porter Jr. is coming back, but they just don't wow me. They got Bol Bol I don't even know what his role is down there in Denver. We'll see what happens there. But Will Barton isn't that special. Malik Beasley's okay. Jeremy Grant is okay. Gary Harris, okay. Paul Millsap, Monte Morris, Mason Plumlee, and last but not least, Mason Plumlee and Jared Vanderbilt. This team is mediocre to me. They might have a good regular season, but don't bank on them being a great team, especially with this Western Conference. You got like 5 legitimate teams in the Western Conference who have a chance to win the finals. One of them being both LA teams. I'd say Houston has a chance. Golden State has a chance. And last but not least, I think you say, I honestly, Timberwolves might have a chance. Timberwolves have a good team. Traded up for Jarrett Culver. They got Rocco coming back from that injury. Cat, I don't like him as a leader, but he's a pretty good player. Utah Jazz are a good team also. Can't count out Greg Popovich. We'll see what the West has in store for us. Let's get into some awards here. My MVP will be Steph Curry. I think this guy is going to take the most shots in the league, especially with Klay Thompson out. He's going to, he'll have a pick and roll every play. Steve Kerr will want him to shoot it all the time. But I think Steph Curry is a phenomenal player, and he'll average 28 points a game this year with Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant gone. My defense player of the year kind of is a given. Rudy Gobert, great defender player. Not much to talk about for defense. He's won it the past couple of years, and I think he'll repeat again. My rookie of the year is R.J. Barrett from the Knicks. I know you're thinking Zion, but he's out 6 to 8 weeks. He can't really shoot, but there are going to be plays where you guys are going to see Zion dunking all over the place, maybe even dunk on someone, and you're going to think that's rookie of the year caliber. But I think you got to judge it by the whole year and what his play style is like. Zion's just a grit and grind kind of guy, while RJ is more of a scoring playmaker kind of guy. They're two different types of basketball players. RJ Barrett, 6'8", 220 pounds, can score from anywhere on the court. Great instincts in the paint, is big, he's strong, and he knows how to be a pro. And Steve Nash is actually his role model, which is awesome. But nonetheless, I think RJ will be a great player, and he'll lead this Knicks team, and I think he'll average probably 22 points a game this year. My sixth man, this one's kind of obvious. We'll change this award to the Lou Williams Award. Lou Williams, obviously on the Clippers, all that depth with Kawhi and Paul George coming back this year, but he'll probably be on the bench. It's kind of his role. He likes it, and I don't think he'll ever change that role. But Lou Williams is a great player. He can score from anywhere on the court. He's a little downsized, but he's a great player either way. So don't count out Lou Williams down there in LA. Most improved player. This one is kind of up in the air, but I'm going to say most improved is Colin Sexton. I'll tell you why. He got new head coach John Beilein, and you can't argue that John Beilein can't develop guards. The way that he developed Xavier Simpson to be one of the best players in the Big Ten, he developed Trey Burke, he developed all those guys. And when you give him more than 4 years with Sexton, and I think it'll get him an impact right away. And I think Sexton's going to have a good year. He'll have a couple boo-boos here and there, but he'll average 17, 16 a game. And I think that's a good year for Sexton. I don't think the Cavs are going to be that special. Obviously, I'm a Cavs fan, so I hate to say that. But we'll see what the Cavs do. And most importantly, Colin Sexton, what he will do in his second year. The 8th pick from Alabama this last year's draft. The coach of the year, this one is a no-brainer for me. Steve Kerr is going to be coach of the year. I know you think about Steve Kerr and you're thinking about, he's not going to be that great because he has KD to give the ball to, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, all those guys, DeMarcus Cousins, Draymond Green. But this guy, if the Warriors have a good year, I think the Warriors are going to be top 3 seed in the West. Call me crazy, but I think so. I think it's going to go Lakers, Clippers, Warriors over. I think the what's their name? The Nuggets will be the 4 seed with the Spurs at the 5. The Jazz will probably be the 6 seed. Rockets Actually, no. Rockets probably will be the 4 seed. Warriors, 2 LA teams are 1 and 2. Rockets 4. Nuggets 5. Jazz 6. Spurs 7. And plug in any team, maybe even the Timberwolves at 8. So I think that's how the Western Conference will do. But this Warriors team, watch out for them because they only lost Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry is going to get a lot more shots and maybe even go to MVP Curry, as we saw in the 2015 and 2016 year. 20 minutes from the hour. Sports Hits with cwit will be back after this short break. Welcome back to Sports Hits with cwit. I'm going to review Week 7. May know I didn't do a podcast Tuesday. I apologize about that. I was sick that day, and I had some homework to catch up on. But let's review Week 7 and my thoughts. The Chiefs beat the Broncos 30-6. Patrick Mahomes was injured, but says he is fine. My thoughts are, Broncos offense is dysfunctional as usual, and the Chiefs, maybe they don't need Mahomes to these upcoming. They played Green Bay, but they didn't need him to beat the Denver. But he has a dislocated kneecap, and I think he can play through it. Aaron Rodgers played through a torn MCL. The Chiefs, they got the Packers coming this week, so it'll be hard for them to win that game, especially with Matt Moore playing. The Bills beat the Dolphins 31-21. Maybe the Bills aren't as good as you think. They were losing to the Dolphins? Is he sure? Offense still is having a lot of growing pains for this Bills team, but they pulled out the W at home against the Miami Dolphins. Worst team in football right now. Jaguars beat the Bungles, 27-17. Gardner Minshew had an average day, but the Jags defense, leading the way with Miles Jack's interception, really carried this team to that W. The Vikings, it looks like Kirk Cousins is back, people, because, man, is he slinging the football all around often and a lot. This guy has, this is why we paid him 30. This is why we paid him 30 mil. These types of games for Cousins. This is why we paid him. These types of games. So they took care of business on the road, and they have the Redskins tonight on Thursday Night Football. Raiders and Packers. The Packers took care of business. Aaron Rodgers with a perfect passer rating. Can you guys believe that? He had 6 touchdowns in that game, and I did not start him in my fantasy league, but luckily I did win by 8, which was huge because of the New England defense, who I'll talk about in a little bit. But Packers took care of business at home versus the Raiders. The Rams and Falcons, Dan Quinn's job just continues to be in jeopardy. It looks like it's finally confirmed that he should be gone and probably will be gone. But the Rams, a nice bounce-back game after dropping 2 of the last 3 games. So I think it was dropping 3 the last 3 games, but they get a nice break here with the Falcons winning 37-10 on the road in Atlanta. The Texans, everyone thought they were so great since they beat the Chiefs, but the Colts, they went to Indianapolis with a lot of swagger and confidence. And the Colts smacked them in the mouth. They want to run the ball on you. Colts beat the Chiefs earlier this year. They want to run the ball on you. They want to wear you down, run it up the gut, contain the clock. Frank Reich's doing a really good job with this Colts team, especially with the backup quarterback Jacoby Brissett, but he's done very well up to this point. So the Colts take care of business and move into 4-2 in that division. 49ers and Redskins. This one is, I like to call it a fun game because it was downright pouring in this game. Pouring. And I didn't get to see a lot in this game, but it sure looked like fun. They were sliding out there. Nick Bosa was sliding for the sacks. He was sliding out there. Looked like fun to me. Cardinals and Giants. The Cardinals took care of business, and they're actually 3-1. So they're off to a pretty good start, but they're in the hardest division in football with the 49ers in that division and the Rams. But we'll see what this Cardinals team can do. Kyler Murray continues to impress me. I was doubting him, but Kyler's done a great job, and Cliff Kingsbury's done a fantastic job trying to control him, get him in the right system. So good job to the Cardinals. They're 3-1, with the ceiling as high as can be for this Cardinals team. The Chargers and Titans. The Chargers were 1 yard away, and then Melvin Gordon fumbled. So when you can't beat Ryan Tannehill and the Titans, you got some problems. So something needs to happen in LA. Obviously, they got the new stadium. Maybe they're a little too excited from that, but maybe I don't know. The Saints and Bears. The Saints took care of business on the road with Teddy Bridgewater being undefeated as a starter. 5-0. Drew Brees likely to not play, I think, this week, but they're playing Arizona, who's a tough team, but it's at home for them. I think they could take care of business without Drew Brees. Then they got the bye, and then Drew Brees will likely be out on the field for week, what would that be? Week 9, week 10, excuse me. But we'll see. This Bears team, they are awful. Mitchell Trubisky is awful. You look at the scoring, the stats, but most of his stats came in garbage time as I was watching that with my dad. But this Bears team, they put their defense in really tough spots, and with that, for say pretty good defense, they're putting them in tough spots to come out of with a win. But we'll see what happens with this Bears team and that division. The Ravens beat the Seahawks 30-16. They kept pounding it with Lamar Jackson. And actually, it worked, and this pains for me to say it from the Steelers as a Steelers fan, but this division is wide open for the Ravens. They're 2 games up. They got through Seattle. They have to play the Rams still and the Patriots, so that could be 2 losses, but they got through the first challenge in Seattle, which I didn't think they would, but they proved me wrong. John Harbaugh, give a lot of credit to him. He's one of the best coaches in the league. He had a plan going into it, and he established it, and it worked. The Eagles and Cowboys, the Cowboys pounded the Eagles 37-10, and when your head coach is calling out that you will win this week, you got problems, in my opinion. Doug Peterson, obviously, coming after the what game that was? The Vikings game. He said that it was confirmed that the Eagles would win, and I think that's complete BS, if you ask me. You can't look past opponents. I've learned that the hard way. But the Monday night massacre was the Patriots and Jets. Obviously, Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts out there, so he couldn't really know. But the Patriots defense took care of business, and they led their way to a 7-0 record to begin the season, likely being 8-0 with the Cleveland Browns coming up. So the Steelers, Anthony Chico got arrested this past weekend. How do you place him? And I'm gonna mispronounce this guy's last name, but it's Ola Adedewa, I think. Sorry if I mispronounced it. Excuse me. But he has to be up to par. He has to be ready to play. Bud Dupree needs to be a step in a bigger role. TJ Watt, obviously. And with Cwit being out, Hargrave's going to have to step up as well. He's going to have to rush the passer on 3rd down, which he's not used to do. But I think he's very capable of doing it. And we'll see what the Steelers team can do. They got the Dolphins this week. So my three keys to the game are get to the quarterback with this awful Dolphins offensive line. Pound the rock with James Conner. Keep things easy for Mason Rudolph. And the third thing is realize it's the Dolphins you're playing against. So that's my 3 keys for winning for the Steelers. Hopefully they get the dub this weekend. That will be Monday night against the Miami Dolphins at Heinz Field. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we got game picks and hot takes coming up for you guys at the end here on Sports Hits with cwit. Welcome back to Sports Hits with cwit. Let's get into some game picks here for you guys today before I let you guys go. This Thursday night, the Redskins are playing at the Vikings. I think the Vikings will take care of business tonight. Obviously, the Redskins are not that great of a team, especially after firing Jay Gruden. But the Vikings seem to find their stride, so I think the Vikings will win this game 28-10 with Kirk Cousins having a big night. Seahawks and Falcons, this game could be a shootout. Seahawks obviously trying to bounce back from last week's loss to Baltimore, and the Falcons trying to bounce back from last week's loss to the Rams. It's in Atlanta, so I think this could help the Falcons a little bit. But I think Seahawks will take care of business here. This could be a lot closer than what you guys think. Obviously, Matt Ryan will not play, but Matt Schaub's not that great of a backup. So I think the Seahawks handle the Falcons pretty easily, and I think they win 34-17. The Broncos and Colts. Colts are playing great football. Jacoby Brissett, they're pounding it. The Rock, their defense is playing up to par, but they'll have a tough test this week with the Denver Broncos coming in. Joe Flacco, obviously, in that dysfunctional offense down there in Mile High. I think the Colts handle the Broncos pretty easily, and I think this game will be 27-14 in the Colts' favor. The Buccaneers and Titans, I think the Titans got a little confidence booster from last week, but I think the Buccaneers are still a good football team with Bruce Arians as their head coach, Jameis Winston and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin having the breakout year. But I think the home crowd will be a factor in this game. I think Jameis Winston will make one mistake that will cost him. And I think at the end of the day, I think the Titans will win this game 24-14. The Cardinals at the Saints. I think the Saints and Teddy Bridgewater will continue to be undefeated this year. Who would have thought that after Drew Brees' Week 3 exit versus the Rams? Who would have thought that Teddy Bridgewater would be undefeated up to this point? I don't think anyone. But Cliff Kingsbury's has had a good he's building something great down there in Arizona, but I don't think it's going to I don't think it's going to happen. Them go into the Mercedes-Benz Superdome and take down the New Orleans Saints with that great defense and Marshawn Lattimore and all those guys. So I think the Saints will take care of business there, and I think they will win 24-10. The Rams and Bengals, I think the Rams will win this game pretty easily. I have the Rams winning 35-14. The Eagles at the Bills. This will be a trap game for the Eagles. The Bills playing good football. They got a good defense. Have to be a little more consistent on offense with Josh Allen. Obviously, they were losing to the Dolphins last week. But I think the Eagles could have a chance. But I think since it's at Buffalo, I think that will be – and I think their defense will get a Carson Wentz turnover late in the fourth quarter. I think that will benefit the Bills to win 27-21 at home. The Chargers and Bears, two teams that are in a must-win spot to try and save their seasons. The Eagles, Chargers, obviously the Melvin Gordon fumble last week, and the Bears, Mitchell Trubisky continues to struggle. It's in Chicago, though, so I'm going to take the Bears on a field goal win. I think this game, it's going to be a low-scoring game, in my opinion, so I think the Bears will win 13-10 at the end of the day, but look for the Chargers to come out highly motivated after last week's loss to the Titans. The Giants and Lions, two teams that need a win bad. It's in Detroit, though, so I think that will give the Lions edge. Matthew Stafford usually plays pretty well at home, and if Matt Patricia only can stop Saquon Barkley, I think this game is all for the Giants. So I think the Lions, I think the Lions will win 27-20. The Jets and Jaguars, two quarterbacks that have been struggling as of late. Obviously, Sam Darnold is seeing ghosts, and that's why. And Gardner Minshew, he isn't usually being the mustache mania that we were thinking. But It's at the Jaguars, and Gardner Minshew needs to play a little bit above par, and especially with C.J. Mosley dealing with that groin injury. Look for the Jaguars to attack the run game with Leonard Fournette. Um, so I think they will win this game eventually, 21-13. The 49ers and Panthers, I think the 49ers will continue to be undefeated with them winning at home versus Kyle Allen and the Panthers. Robert Saleh is doing a great job with that Niners defense. And I think if he can contain Christian McCaffrey to under 100 scrimmage yards, then this game is going to be all the Niners with that explosive offense with Jimmy Garoppolo. Need Kyle Juszczyk back, but they don't need him back that bad. So we'll see what the 49ers can do, but I do think they take care of business at home, and I think they win 27-10. The Raiders and the Texans. I had the Raiders winning this game. You know, the Texans last week, everyone thought they were so great coming out of Chiefs. I think the Raiders come highly motivated. John Gruden will have his guys ready to play. I think Josh Jacobs has a big game. Tyrell Williams will likely be back, and Darren Waller. Derek Carr has to be a little bit above par for them to win this game, but I think he's highly capable of doing that. And the Texans struggling last week versus Colts. They couldn't develop any offense after 2 weeks ago. They were scoring too fast, maybe. But I think the Raiders at the end will win in a shootout, 34-28 in overtime. The Browns at the Patriots. I think this game, obviously Jarvis Landry, if you guys didn't hear this, Jarvis Landry guaranteed, he pulled a Doug Peterson, he guaranteed that the Browns will beat the Patriots, the undefeated Patriots. What are you doing, Jarvis Landry? But the Patriots are going to win this game. They're going to kill them. It's going to be 35-13 the final. I think they'll have at least 2 defensive touchdowns. They'll get to the quarterback as soon as possible. Try and make Baker throw it. Browns have to contain the offense, try to run the ball at least, but you know Bill Belichick, how he is with the run game. He can't really run it on him, but we'll see what can happen. We'll see what Cleveland's made of if they were so. Freddie Kitchens is a great coach. Baker Mayfield's it. We'll see what can happen in this game, but I do have the Patriots winning 35-14. The Packers at the Chiefs. When you looked at the beginning of the year, you circled this game, Week 8, Sunday Night Football, 8:20, but sadly, Patrick Mahomes will likely be out for this game. So that means Matt Moore, who was a scout for the Dolphins this past offseason and brought in as a backup to back up Mahomes, will be starting in this game likely. So I think that could mean a lot for the Packers. Obviously, they changed their defense tremendously. They've added pass rushers, more athletic on the outside. But I think Aaron Rodgers will be the X factor in this game. Him rolling out the pocket will be finding his receivers downfield will help him a lot. So I do think the Packers will win, but don't count out Matt Moore without a fight. And I think the Packers will win 20-28. My Steelers take on the Dolphins this Monday night, and I think this game could be, and I think it will be, a blowout. Steelers offense too explosive for this Miami defense and Brian Flores. I think they're going to run the ball, and it will make them to bring up their one safety, and then they'll go deep to their playmakers and Juju Smith-Schuster, who was battling the flu today. Seems like there's a flu going around in the Steelers locker room. Hopefully that clears up. Let's say our prayers. But I think the Steelers will win this game pretty handily. I think they'll win 28-6. Some hot takes for you guys. Michigan wins out and spoils 2 teams from playoff chances. I think they will spoil Notre Dame this Saturday, and I think they will spoil Ohio State in the game. The game. I think they're capable of doing it. We saw what this offense can become, and I think we might see that this weekend versus Notre Dame, and it'll put the league on shock a little bit that these teams ready to play and spoil this team's season. My second and final hot take of the day, AJ Green will be traded to the Patriots. They always kind of pull that stuff. Josh Gordon's out for the year on an IR. They just acquired Mohamed Sanu, but I don't think they're satisfied with that. So I think they could acquire AJ Green. It'll probably take a third-round pick and maybe a second-round pick next year, the price won't be as high because it's the Bengals, but they might ask for a first, but it's still A.J. Green at the end of the day. But they did address the issue at tight end, at wide receiver, trading for Mohamed Sanu. But I think A.J. Green could be and most likely would be a great fit for the New England Patriot. So that's going to wrap up my show. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Steel City Sport 4. And Charlie and I are likely going to have a podcast this weekend, this Saturday to be exact, on our first channel. That would be Steel City Sport 4 on Twitter. We have all the links there, so go check that out. Again, that's Steel City Sport 4 on Twitter. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you Tuesday. And if you want to hear Chuck and I argue, it's going to be PTI all the time. Pardon the interruption, Chuck. If you want to hear that, go to our Twitter and click on the link where it says Charlie and I's Together podcast. Well, I'll be likely out Saturday night during the Michigan game. But that's going to wrap up my show, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you Tuesday. Enjoy the games, guys.